Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm glad to see so many people are out tonight for the issues. One of the things that I work with, like he stated, is working with people who are trying to access public benefits, and that would be the welfare system, majority, although we do other things as well. And tonight, what I want to talk to you about is how this all ties in with low wages through the welfare reform laws. Are you all familiar with the welfare reform laws? Anybody, everybody? No. Then, okay, first I'm going to just tell you how it's effective, and then I'll explain when it came in, and it's under President Clinton. First, I want to let you know that welfare reform has come at the worst time when our economy is at worst. One of the things of welfare is that you can only receive public assistance for a short time, and it's a 3-year here in Cuyahoga County. And I'll explain all of that later, but be it known that it's a limited time that you can receive any public assistance, and this is for the rest of your life. The rest of your life, whether you work and lose your job or anything else, you can never get it again. And like I said, right now in Cuyahoga County, it's only 3 years. We're actually going through a depression, I believe, even though they call it a recession. I do believe that this is a depression, and the people who have lost benefits, they started losing them in 2000, and those people are drowning in poverty right now. They said this was going to be a war on poverty, but what it's turning out to be is actually a war on mothers and children. Those are the ones that are suffering under the economic crisis, because we were told that once the welfare reform laws went into place, that these women would be able to access jobs. But as of the year 2000, we've been bleeding jobs everywhere, so there's no jobs for them. And these people are usually the voiceless, the invisible, the ignored, the impoverished, the endangered inhabitants of the United States plantation of America. They are individuals, families, and children who are caught up in a web of poverty. They are trapped by the systems set in place to help them, because they tell them that these systems that they're getting into are going to supply them with jobs and training, but they get trapped in a web. And they're trapped by the circumstances they happen to find themselves in, be it they were laid off, their unemployment ran out, they have become divorced, or they're young and have a child in their youth as a teen parent. So they're caught up in the circumstances that they find themselves in, and they have no mercy in this criteria. And you can even notice in the community that our community leaders, they're not even talking about them. Most of the local politicians never mention them. Very few churches, and I'm so glad this church is willing to do a forum like this, because most churches are not even talking about them. Even some of the grassroots organizations are not talking about it. They may talk about utilities, they may talk about homelessness, but talking about welfare reform and what is actually happening to those who are in extreme poverty, and I'm talking about the people with no wages, no income at all. As we have lost 4 million jobs since 2000, and this is national, and more than 80,000 in Cuyahoga County. Just in the last year, we lost 11,000 jobs. These 80,000 unemployed workers are looking for a declining number of jobs along with public assistance recipients. And when their unemployment runs out, they will be in the same position as the welfare recipient. There has been an increase in the food stamp program by 24% in the suburban areas. And in Howard County, we're talking about Bedford, Brooklyn, Lyndhurst, Maple, Newburgh Heights, Westlake, Solon. Those are some of the places who have seen a 24% increase in the food stamp uses. That means these people who are losing their jobs due to the economic downturn are now turning to the same system that will tell them, unless you find a job in 3 years, you may be close to retirement or whatever. If you can't find a job, you too will no longer have any kind of public assistance, no help. While it is so important for our government to bail out the banks and to fund the unpopular war and to give corporate welfare to executives who have destroyed our economy, they let poor mothers and their children be thrown out on the street. And these women are being thrown out on the street. When you lose your benefits and you no longer can pay rent, the landlords go downtown and have you evicted. And if you have no money to go anywhere else, your stuff is set on the sidewalk. So they are losing their housing. And God forbid, but it's really happening. There is a clause in the Cuyahoga County welfare reform laws that as long as a mother resides in the residence where she has gotten her 3 years, that unless she leaves the premises or gives her children to someone else, she can no longer, those kids cannot get any benefits. If the mother leaves, if she was the one that was getting the benefits and the mother leaves, then whoever takes on the responsibility for the children can continue to get child-only benefits. Most people don't know that, but that's actually true. So therefore, what is happening, and I've had clients come into our agency, and actually one mother was doing her community service at my agency. She had just gotten her children back. And she told me, she said, "Ms. Cooper, I can't do this anymore. I only have 3 months left on my benefits. I've just gotten my children back. And I don't know what we're going to do. I have 4 kids. I'm going to have to give them back to foster care." I never seen that girl again. So I'm assuming that she did what she said she was going to do, and that was to give away her children. And there is a lot of mothers who have lost benefits, who are turning their children over to relatives, friends, neighbors, even the foster care system, because they no longer can take care of them. There are families who are moving in together, 3 and 4 families in one house. I know of one family who lives in an apartment complex. Their whole family has taken over the whole foreclosed apartment building. Each family member with their children are living in a 4-suite, and they have all 4 apartments. And that house is in foreclosure.